Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today in the Azure UAE Community Meetup. And today we are going to talk about an interesting topic about how to become MVP. And MVP, I mean Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. And what can be better than grouping all MVPs in the country? So we have a lot of people in this meetup, and they will share from their experience what is the most thing that helped them become MVP, so that one day you might become one. I urge you to register and check up our meetup link. So I have in the slide our meetup link. And for Microsoft MVPs in the call, when they introduce themselves, make sure to check their blog post, social media, connect with them, ask them any question after the session, and we will post link to the recording after this meetup. So to start with, I just want to take 1 minute to present the idea of Microsoft MVP. As defined by Microsoft, the Microsoft MVP award is given to people who have specific criteria or characteristics. Those are technology experts who are passionate about sharing knowledge within the community. It's all about community event and sharing knowledge. They also have deep knowledge of one or more of Microsoft products and services, which makes sense because it's a Microsoft award. And there are more than 4,000 technical MVPs across the globe, across 90 countries, who share their passion and knowledge about Microsoft technology. Of course, you can visit the URL in this slide, which is mvp.microsoft.com, to learn more. And instead of talking about the award itself, let's hear from our guest. And to start with, I want to introduce Ahmad Nabil. Ahmad is an MVP from Egypt, and he's MVP since a long time. Ahmad, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, thanks Ammar, and thanks UAE Meetup for having me here with you. This kind of interviews and this kind of sessions is really helpful so that people can learn from each other and from the existing MVPs, of course. So my name is Ahmad Nabil. I'm from Egypt. I'm currently living in Dubai, working in an international financial institution. And as Ammar mentioned, I am both an MVP and RD. And I think during the session, I'll get some time maybe to explain the difference between both.
Thank you, Ahmad, very much. We will turn and talk about James. James, can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everybody. My name is James Toulman. I'm an MVP in Azure. I'm from the UK. I've been an MVP since December last year, and I'm one of the community leaders for Azure UAE.
We also have Igor, my colleague and friend at work. Igor, may you introduce yourself very quickly?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Igor Shastitko. Originally, I'm from Slovakia. Here in Dubai, I'm about 2 years and less than a year, more than half year. I am MVP on the Microsoft Azure. Originally, I worked for Microsoft for 10 years, left Microsoft 5 years ago, but MVP, I started my journey on the MVP only a year ago, and with help from Ammar and James. Yeah, and mostly my specialization for now, it's Azure infrastructure, deployment management, security, and automation. So we work together with Ammar on the Etisalat managed services and Etisalat digital. Yeah.
Thank you, Igor. It's worth mentioning that Igor is breaking records in his YouTube videos, so make sure to check his YouTube channel. We also have Usama. Usama, are you there?
Hello everyone, how are you guys? I'm from Pakistan, but I'm MVP from UAE actually. I first received award in 2011 for Office Server and Services Group. Now focusing heavily on data and Azure, and contributing in the community the various user groups. I was the first one who started the first ever user group in UAE, which basically currently run by James and Hatem, I believe. I get a chance to work with the fantastic people across UAE, especially the MVP community. Hatem, James, Always, and many others. So few of them moved out, few of them become MSFTs, and it was a great journey for me to work with so many fantastic people who share similar experience, similar passion. And thank you for inviting for today's talk.
Thank you, Sama. We also have Hatem. Hatem, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Yes, hello, everyone. So I'm Hatem Nagawala, and I work as a technology lead at AppsWave. Usually, my daily job includes, handling mobile projects and web projects across different sectors in UAE. And I love speaking. I have been like thrilled to actually go to different community groups, different meetups, different events, and I actually go ahead and speak out on the topics which I love on. And I have been a part of a few mentoring groups across UAE and India. Worked with Microsoft for 2 years, where my role was mostly towards developer experience. And yes, I am a Microsoftie by heart, so you can come on debate with me on any Microsoft technology with the competitor. So I love doing that. Cool. That's it from my side.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself very quickly. My name is Ammar Hasayen, a Microsoft MVP since 5 years now. I'm from Jordan and my MVP category is Microsoft Cloud and Data Center Management. I am both Microsoft MVP and MCT, which is Microsoft Certified Trainer. I do public speaking in a lot of conferences in the US and Europe and of course in UAE. And I also maintain a professional blog. Check it out at blog.ahasayen.com. Sometimes I author courses for Pluralsight, which is a platform for sharing content related to IT and technologies. So if you are into e-learning, then check up my courses at Pluralsight. And I also recently published 2 books. The latest one is about Microsoft 365 security. Here is the link of that book. And then I also do a YouTube videos. So I have a professional YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ammar Hasayen, where I maintain and publish technical content about cybersecurity and cloud computing. Feel free to reach out at any time on social media using @Ammar Hasayen. There are 2 MVPs who couldn't join us. Those MVPs are also in the UAE. We have Hassan from Turkey. His MVP category is Microsoft Cloud and Data Center Management. He's a senior technology engineer, a speaker, and an author. We also have Satish from India. His MVP category is Office Apps and Services. He specializes in messaging and virtualization and a publisher of Azure 365pro.com.
And for that, I want to start by asking the question, all of you, what do you think makes a Microsoft MVP? And I want to ask all attendees to share their questions in the Q&A area, and we can answer them at the end or after the video recording. We have a lot of people here. I know most of you are specialized in one contribution area. And this is normal. Sometimes people are more comfortable contributing using videos. Some MVPs people are more comfortable writing things. Other people are social. They want to go and speak and organize event, whatever your strength or the contribution that you are comfortable with. This is what you need to keep doing consistently. And for that, we have diverse profiles across MVPs in UAE, which is our strength as MVPs in the country. I will start by asking James about his experience. What makes an MVP from your perspective? What's the contribution that you think help you become a Microsoft MVP?
I think being an MVP is just wanting to share your knowledge with the local community. We don't necessarily have the biggest community in the world, but we've built something from having very few people in the beginning to, I think we have between the 3 communities now, there's probably 3,000-4,000 people who are subscribed to them. So I think it's just making sure that you keep it interesting and do something different every time. We've been doing this for 2 years now, and I don't think we've really repeated a session yet. So I think keeping it up to date and relevant is one of the key things.
One more thing I just like to add here, that if you can just a little light up, or James especially, that how difficult and how different the UAE community is out there and in general context, because when you talk about generally the hosting session, like these two fellows are doing a great job anyway, it's very different. It's very different from other part of the world, because there's so much diversity out there, so much diversity is out there between amongst the population, and because people from across the globe live in Dubai, and it's very difficult to gather all of them. And these guys are doing a fantastic job. I love to hear more about that one, if James can light up that area as well.
I think that's been one of our biggest challenges, and I think Hatim will agree with this one as well, because Hatim leads the developers community. That trying to create the fine balance between the people who are interested in just starting, particularly when we first started doing the community, because the data center hadn't launched, and due to like regional restrictions on data sovereignty, people weren't really traditionally using cloud within the region, and people were coming because they knew that the data center had been announced and they were interested. But then there was the people whose businesses weren't restricted, and we're using the different regions, such as the European regions, and they wanted to learn more about what they could do. So we had to try and keep that fine balance. Whereas I think from looking at the sessions that the people do in Europe, they've got mature data centers. They do things that are like the latest, greatest stuff, and we're going to come and show you how to do all this kind of stuff. We very much had to start from the foundations and build it up from there.
Correct.
I don't know what your thoughts are, Hatim.
Yes. So actually, what Usama added, I wanted to add to that point, which is the main thing to target over here in the region is the diversity. Like, there are different levels of people out here who are actually expecting something from the community. It's like there are people who are just having basic knowledge about it. There are people who are actually pros into that. And the region in UAE gives a platform to all the people together to actually cater in the community. So we have sessions where you have introduction to some technology, and we have also did some sessions which are like level 300, level 400 sessions, where we target to a specific technology and we actually go ahead and help them into that. And yeah, it's a good platform for us to serve them. And 3,000 is a big number. As you know, there are, like in the region, it's more towards less towards technical teams, more towards marketing and sales. So to have this much community members, it's a good job, guys. Everyone equally contributed to it, and we are still going ahead for that.
It's really amazing. I think so. You're saying something? Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I want no. Please tell me, Osama, if you have something to add here.
Because I think so, it's a great number, it's a great effort, and that consolidated and very focused effort that done by James, Hatim, and everybody, and contributed in this manner. Initially, when I moved to Dubai 10 years back, it was really difficult to get 15 people on a weekend on our sessions like very advanced topics. And when you host a session, you will never expect that what kind of audience you will get. It sometimes very intermediate audience and sometimes very mixed audience. People coming from various backgrounds and their interests are so much different from another. So the depth technological sessions, like if you go for 400 level, 300 level, deep dive, SharePoint kind of stuff, deep Azure architecture stuff, it's very difficult for the contributors and general presenters to present content, because if the audience not able to consume or not able to understand or ready to accept that, so it is become a very demotivational factor for MVPs. That was the big challenge out there. I think so in 2011 there was no MVP out there. I was the first one who got nominated, and I was the first one who got awarded in UAE. The first MVP award I get it in UAE. And I was surprised that not much MVPs out there. But when I started doing a community work, run my first user group out there, I realized the challenges. We tried to mix so many things, and then I met Awais. You guys know him, Awais Mahbub. He was also an MVP. Now he's working with Microsoft. We started that dev group, and we come with the approach, let's merge everything together rather than a separate technology specific user groups. And fantastic job, you guys. And everyone is open to speak, I believe, out there. It's an open group.
Yeah, so my take out of this, I want to add two things. First of all, As you said, when you come to the UAE, things were difficult. In Jordan, we didn't have a Microsoft community, so I had to establish one with a couple of my friends, right? And this was a challenge. But since we are in UAE, we are a UAE MVPs, and we are addressing people who want to become an MVP. So you are in a good position. You have more than 6 MVPs, and I believe they will grow soon. So you can reach out and ask us. The second thing, you don't have to establish a new community like some of us had to do. You can enroll to the communities. There is a link in this slide about the community, one of the communities that we have. So make sure to register and follow this community. Second thing is that most people came to us and say, okay, I want to speak more in the community, on the community, or in this meetup. So my advice, my personal advice is try to come and watch our sessions. Now it's online. Try to watch the session, understand the dynamics of the communities that are there, and then reach out. Don't be shy. Reach out and share your intention to speak, share your expertise. If you are adding value to the community, of course, the people in this call and other people will help you become a speaker in the community where you can actively contribute. And also, it's not about only speaking in local community. I know all of us did a lot of work to organize things, make sure that we add diverse content. Like James said, it's not easy to make sure that we are not repeating the same content. Also, Adam talked about the relevance of the topic that we are trying to address. Now, I believe, and this is a question to you guys, do you think that moving to online community event is a challenge dash better, and what are the pros and cons?
It is a challenge. It is a challenge, but it's an opportunity as well. I believe that it's more an opportunity than a challenge. It has its shortcomings. It has some hurdles out there. Obviously, you cannot interact in the same fashion that we used to do in a physical manner. Okay, there is this internet problem. There is lots of equipment issues also out there. Everyone is not expert as like Ahmad and you guys that create a fantastic videos. I watch all the time on YouTube, both of them, and the great content. But most of the MVPs, especially like James, now he's working as an executive class professional, and it's more than administrative and architecture design side he is. So people sometimes do not have skills to build videos. So people sometimes do not have, they're not used to the new world. I remember that me and my team has arranged, might be you also speak at that one. Do you remember that we have hosted an event that called Gulf SharePoint Online? It was the first ever online event in 2013 or 14, I believe. You remember Ammar Hasayen from Egypt. Might Ahmad know him. He was also a very active MVP. He moved to Dubai at that time. And we hosted a first ever multi-channel online event. And we got 5,000 plus Gulf attendees. We get the attendees, 5,000 attendees, and we have 78 speakers for 3 days continuous. And it was the biggest event that ever, I think so. We produced it for SharePoint and Office community. But manage that content was very difficult, multilingual. So many people ask us that, can we get this topic in Arabic? Can we get this thing in Hindi? Can we get this topic in different language? So we try to create 3 channels. The Arabic speakers, we request them, the people who can speak Arabic fluently, can you contribute in Arabic? We bring up few people from Indian and South Asian communities. Can you speak in Hindi or Urdu, whatever the language they preferred? And in general English, we have lots of English speakers out there. And
I want to emphasize in your point that this is also an opportunity, Usama, as Ignite is coming next week, as we all know, and it's a completely virtual event with all the diversity and the content and the challenges. They're building the first Ignite in a virtual manner. So I believe it's also an opportunity for people who cannot, go and organize the venue, sometimes the food, the drinks. Now it might be an opportunity for that. And I also want to mention here something is that the sessions are recorded, so it's also available on demand, like what we are doing here. And this will create a great opportunity. We are also seeing MVPs doing sessions in both languages. So me and Ahmad, we did a similar session in Arabic to target the Arabic audience, and now we are doing this one in English. So I believe also the online thing allows us to be more diverse even in the language. And you know, MVP is about local contributions, and also I believe the language, like Igor will now clarify in his YouTube channel, is very important. And actually, let me move up quickly to Igor. Igor, he has a unique contribution area, which is YouTube, and he's using his English and his native language to deliver the message to bigger audiences. To that, I want to ask Igor. Igor, what do you think helped you become an MVP? Can you share your YouTube experience as a great way to share content?
Frankly saying, the YouTube, it's easiest way for me, like it's easiest way to share the content, but it's not a best way to share the content, especially right now, due to on the YouTube right now you have a really high competition. You have a lot of different sources of information, etc., etc. And again, yeah, you're right. That's like why I am doing the presentation on my native language or languages, due to I speak a lot of Slavianic languages, different languages, but quite same is it. Anyway, the YouTube channel, you have to understand that right now it's really hard to get your auditorium. My YouTube channel was started 10 years ago. Right now I have about 60,000 users. It's not a big deal for YouTube right now when the fashion bloggers or gamers has the millions, but this is a technical channel, mostly technical channel. I put there the technical content, I put there the review of different gadgets, etc., etc. But anyway, it's really a long journey, and you need to be really positive with the results.
Can you share some tips that how to start a YouTube channel where you can publish content, and any tips for the people out there who want to be follow as a part of MVP?
Look, even for us? Yeah, at first you need to understand that for the first year or even for the 2 or 3 years, you will not get even maybe 2 or 3,000 users, subscribers at all. It's really important. You need to understand that the technical content is not interesting for the YouTube auditorium, for the YouTube viewers, for the YouTube subscribers, etc.
Actually, I want to emphasize on this point because I was inspired and I opened my YouTube channel 1 year and a half ago, and because I used to do Pluralsight courses. So I know how to do video content, and I think why to publish content that requires money or subscription like Pluralsight? Why not to do content for the public as a public contribution? And it's not the easiest way to contribute. It's a hard way to contribute. And Igor mentioned a great point that I want to emphasize. It requires time and patience in the YouTube world to get search optimization, to get content, to get conversions of the traffic.
No, I am not agree with you. You know that the situation with my YouTube channel demonstrates that this is like a just accident situation to be famous. So, for example, my YouTube channel fired like a rocket only after one video, exactly like 7 years when it was started, the Windows 7. So at that year, when the Windows 7 was released, I published the video how to deploy the Windows 7 or any other operation system, like side by side on the virtual disk. What is VHD, that time, etc., how to install like a second operation system without any repartition, without any other changes on your system. That's just only for the deployment. And yeah, and that video collects about million of the views, million.
Wow.
And a lot of subscribers. It was like a virus video. The same second video, it's like just it's a strange, but it was like asked from my friends. It's like, you know, sometimes it happens with any SD card or USB sticks, etc., micro SD. When you can't format it or do something with it, and you can repair it just only by clearing by disk part. It's a second video with 1 million views.
I want to add, Igor, here, interesting point. I used to do a couple of videos, but what you mentioned is very important, which is relevant content. I remember that I started doing videos how to pass Microsoft exams and other security exams. And I discovered that those videos got the most views because they were relevant and people are looking for those content. So making sure that you post and contribute on things that people care about is very, very important. And since we are talking about YouTube and community, I want to quickly switch to Ahmad. And Ahmad is one of the oldest Arab MVPs in the region. He's a colleague of mine, and Ahmed has a slightly different experience on the contribution. He's public speaking, he do community events, but perhaps he can share his insight. Ahmed, I know that you have a lot of things to say. Can you share with us the most thing that you think help people contribute to become a Microsoft MVPs?
Yes, Ammar, thanks. So what I want to start with is that first of all, that this program, since its inception, this program is mainly about Microsoft professional, deep technology persons, and it's not necessary. And if this is according to Microsoft itself, it's not necessary that an MVP is just a technological expert. Because sometimes we get this request, I'm the best technology expert, I know a lot about these kind of things. So this is just one side of the coin. You need to be a technological expert with deep understanding, of course, of the products and services. However, you need to be a community leader. And with the community leader is someone who really share his knowledge, give back to the community, display some leadership and constant willingness to help others. And this is the point. I mean, here, most of our activities and most of the eligible activities for the program, people need to understand that these activities are independent volunteer work. So if there's this kind of work that you're doing, that you get money for it, then this might not be a kind of activity to be accepted in the MVP. It's mainly some independent volunteer work. So it's something that you take from your own time, from your family time. Now, as you see,
you are saying that you're saying an interesting point that you need to be not only technically good, because there are a lot of people who are good technically, but they are not contributing. I know people who are gurus in technologies, but they are not contributing. And to do the extra step and contributing is a huge thing. And as James, Igor, Hatem, Usama knows that we are doing all this contribution without any financial income or without any limit on this. And this is out of our personal time. People say that they are busy in work, busy with life, but imagine that the six of us, we are committed to spend more time to contribute just for the sake of contribution and share.
See, for example, this webinar, it's similar. It's almost now in our time zones, 8 p.m. And then some other people just finish their work and then they have some other commitments. So, I mean, it's a kind of a commitment that you take for yourself. I'm committing to the community itself. So this is a very important thing that people need to understand, that they want to spend some time. There'll be something that they have to sacrifice from their personal lives. The second thing is about the contributions. And how to
just a second about the time. Could I add some points? Just to understand why the YouTube channel is not really, let's say, an easy way also. So I found that for 10 minutes video with some technical demo, etc., you typically need to spend on about 4-5 hours to do this video. Yeah, for the prepare the video, prepare the labs, do the easiest lab, etc. And after that, set the editing and converting, etc. Plus, you need also spend the money on your devices due to you need something that allow you to convert the video itself. So it's like maybe with the powerful computer, it will take 1 day or more. Yeah,
I know all of us has these stories, the equipment that we use to make things more perfect. This is something that we are committed. For me, it was the mic that I'm using, the equipment, and each year I'm trying to upgrade my equipment to make more professional things. Ahmed, do you have any other thing to add about the
Yeah, so I just want to add after this that there's a lot of things for you to become an MVP. A lot of again community things that you can do, like for example the blogs, the online forums, the social media, contributing to podcasts, to books, blogs, of course speaking at user groups, meetups and conferences. All these are kind of computers. For me, the irony that when I started MVP, of course I didn't know about MVP, and when someone approached me first about the MVP, I thought it's kind of a certificate or something, that the exam you need to pass or something. But when I started, I was studying mainly having my own blog. And the funny thing, I was having my own blog because, as you know, people in IT, by time we start losing our memory. So I was just having my blog just to put the things that I've done as a kind of registry so I can get back to it at any time. And I started as well doing this online forums, but at that point of time, there was this TechNet, starting answering questions on the TechNet.
Yes.
And when you answer questions on TechNet, you get some feedback, positive feedback, and you get some points, and your profile gets again more points, and you get more visibility for the people. That's how I started, which is the forums and the blogs, and then I spent to some other things. But I want to focus on this thing because this forums, I mean, this was really the best reward that I ever got in my life when I answer some kind of question or help someone and he replies back that, yes, you saved my day. I was doing this for something like 6-7 hours with no answer, and then you helped me. This was kind of things that I've done at the beginning.
We all know the feeling now. It's tech community with Microsoft.com, where you can go there. This is also a shout out to everyone that is watching us. One of the easiest way to contribute is to go to techcommunity.microsoft.com. You can find the community there. You can find, for example, Office 365 spaces, team spaces, whatever thing that you are comfortable on, you can go there. You can ask questions, of course, but you also can answer questions and help other people. And this is how the community works. With time, you will be recognized as a problem solver. And this is where you know that you are in the first step of becoming a Microsoft MVP. But also one of the biggest one of the most famous contribution areas that is hard to do is the one that Hatem is want to share with us, which is speaking in public speaking and going out, traveling to conferences, and more expanding from the local contribution to more of regional and global contribution. Hatem, do you want to elaborate more?
Yes. So actually, my journey in public speaking actually started during my college days. And the thing was, I went to a technical symposium as an inter-college competition. And I just presented a paper, during the college times, during your first year, second years, you present something. And I love doing that. I love being on the stage. I love when people look at me and, understand something which I'm speaking on. And there's a different type of connection happening out there. I started with that, and then I knew a program from Microsoft itself, which is a Microsoft Student Partners program. I joined that program, and it is similar kind of a MVP program where I used to share community with our knowledge, what I had, and it was through public speaking. So I started giving sessions first in my college. I then started going different regions in India. So India being vastly diverse, you go into different regions and you speak different language in that. And to communicate with them and to explain what you have gathered knowledge, that was the maximum, a biggest challenge which you had. And second thing is you also have to understand the mentality of the speaker, the people who are listening to you. If you don't have a connection in that case, or you don't understand what they're expecting from you, that will be a bit of problem. But to overcome that, what I've seen in the past, so I've been starting this public speaking since 2008. And it has been 12 years since I go out, I speak in events, I speak in community meetups and stuff. And what I know, one thing about it is, it doesn't matter how good communication skills you have, but what matters the most is how much good you are in that technology. Okay. If you know your subject, if you know what you're speaking on the stage, you will be 100% confident with that. And the second thing is here is you don't have to worry about, or, your nervousness and everything will go off as soon as you are confident in your things, what you're talking about. Just go there and speak out whatever is there in your heart about that technology. Second thing I love about speaking out here in public is every technology you learn or you speak about, you don't know 100% of it, okay? And when you go out among your peers and you start speaking of that, you get to know more from the questions you get asked from, and you get different perspectives of that technology, so that once you deliver that session and once you share your knowledge, you get something from the community also, or you get something from the stage also. So there has been times where I spoke with 5 people in the room to 1,500 people in the room. And I remember that day when I spoke in front of 1,500 people, my legs were shivering, and it was hard to stand in front of that, big crowd. But it's like, yes, you learn something from them, you learn what you're speaking about, and you get more angles towards your technology. So it is always good, and we always encourage people out here in the community also to don't worry about what background you come from, or what how you speak. The best thing is you are here to share your knowledge. So for me, I care more about what I have to share with other people, and you keep that in mind. And this is one of major contributions where you can actually go ahead, contribute yourself, speak, interact with the community, and it's a good track to become the MVP.
It's very important. Thank you, Hatem. It's very important. We sometimes see, before we became MVP, we see famous MVPs speaking in big conferences, and we thought we will never be there. But with starting small, knowing your subject, contributing, talking in small events, and then you will be invited to bigger events, to the point where we are now invited to speak in big conferences. And we were the ones who we saw and we were impressed too. So there is nothing impossible. It's about loving to share, and we will reach there. Sometimes people say, "Yo, you are a public speaker. How great is that?" No, I'm not public speaker. I started the journey and I become some. So you need to start thing. So I want to share
sorry, Ammar, I have one small thing to share actually here.
Yeah.
So it's like for me in the journey, I started with my college, like in my own classmates, and to that I actually reached like step by step. I went to different colleges first, then went to bigger universities, then actually went and spoke to Microsoft TechEd. I was a speaker last 2 years for Ignite. So actually that ladder doesn't stop. So, you start somewhere small, and I feel it's there in all the contribution areas. Either you do small blogs, you record small videos, you go out, speak on something. Everything you start small. You don't have to stay back in that. Just start small, and one day, inshallah, you will reach to that stage where you want to actually see others. You see others where they are right now. You will be there one day for sure.
By the way, guys, the producing the video, it's a good idea to train your public speaking skills, etc., etc. When you can record, you can stop, you can re-record again and again, but we will try after that. When you create a few videos, after that you can explain this topic to the public due to you have skills, you found your voice you found, your words, etc., etc. So it will be a good idea also to start with video, YouTube, and after that present on the public speaking, etc., or online events too. So like this is the same.
Recording yourself is a great way, and again, you get better with time. Each time you do something, any contribution, like Hatem said, and this is the subject that I want to move on, which is my preferred contribution area, is blogging. And you can see, I hope the audience is noticing that every one of us, although we are all MVPs, each one has some strength in an area where he feels more comfortable in contributing. Some people prefer videos, some people public speaking, a local community, answering questions on the forums. For me, it was blogging. I discovered that I'm good in writing. I love sharing knowledge. So when I used to work 15 years back, I discovered when I solved a problem that I want to share it with the world. This is part of how you become MVP. You want to share things naturally, right? So I solved a big problem about exchange crashing and clustering across 2 data centers. It was a big thing. And finally, I knew exactly what happens. And no one except my small team to share this joy of finding the solution. So I thought, why not to go to a WordPress.com, which is a free blogging platform. I just subscribe and I start typing there. So I start doing this once every month, and surprisingly, I was seeing traffic coming to the blog and people. This is the most important and most joyful reward for MVPs, when you see feedback from people coming to the blog, leaving a comment. Thank you, Ammar. Solving this help us a lot in our work. We have the same issue, and we search the internet, we find your blog. This was, a huge thing for us. I discovered it's not about me, it's about sharing and contributing more. So I evolved with writing, and now I have more than 100 blog posts talking about various technology things, and with time you become better. I still remember the first time I logged my first post. It was a disaster. Now I learned more about professional writing. I know more about search engine optimization. So you naturally, when you see the effect of your contribution, you naturally try to make yourself better. Igor mentioned buying equipments. James mentioned finding more time grouping communities to amplify the effect. So all these things helps in shaping your road to the MVP. James, you want to add something?
I just like to,
yeah. So I think.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I think my interest is probably completely different to yours, Ammar. So I hate blogging and writing. It's it just reminds me of homework at school. So the thing that I actually enjoy doing the most is the coordination and coming up with the paths of the sessions of we're gonna do 8 to 12 weeks. We're gonna follow these subjects, and this is what we're gonna learn at the end of it. Which is why I've quite enjoyed the sessions that we've done over COVID. Is that everyone's got a chance to speak. We've covered like lots of different topics. It ended up being quite infrastructure and security focused. So I think we need to do some more stuff that's kind of more developer and AI focused over the next things. But that's certainly where I find more interest in doing it myself. And I think that that contributed more towards me getting my MVP status than doing any of the kind of the speaking stuff, because you get points for contribution as well as for organizing, and it's viewed equally the same. And I think I got a lot more for organizing than I did for the speaking. And I think some of the guys who speak are certainly a lot more technical and capable than I am when it comes to the technology. So it just shows that you don't have to be somebody who is really, really deep, or who's like Igor, who has a YouTube channel, who has a big blog following. So it really is what you contribute.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing on top of Ahmad here, and it's just that plagiarism. I've been contacted by many people because I believe I'm the longest running MVP in UAE, I got a chance to work with so many people out there. And many times people came to me and asked me that I have applied for MVP, I done lots of community effort, and I could not get the result out of it. I could not able to become an MVP. First of all, that's my personal opinion that if you are doing everything to become an MVP, that's you're doing absolutely wrong. You have to do for the core passion, helping others, and understanding the technology and sharing your knowledge. The core objective should be there, and it will be rewarded. It will be rewarded. But if you're focused to be, if you're doing all the things just to become an MVP, might will miss the path. And because I love blogging, I did not get much chance to do blog nowadays, but my career started as a blogging. I have created a website way back then time, a long time ago, and I start blogging about travel blogs. I know, but at the time I don't travel, I just use that blogs. And then I start tech blogging, and I get quite nice response because I love Silverlight. At that time, I start writing about Silverlight, and my blog been hit quite large number of users. Even Microsoft showcased that one. I get like 1 million plus views every month from a various posters, which I wrote almost like 10 years back.
Don't think any views coming for Silverlight now, huh?
It still come. People still. If I show you that, it's really surprising. I'm getting more views than ever before because people still use. Some folks are using out those technologies for the migration and legacy stuff, and they could not able to find a content on forums because Microsoft scrapped those forums. And there used to be something called Silverlight.net. It doesn't exist anymore. So. But
it's about sharing for the sake of sharing. This is very important.
And plagiarism.
The best content.
Copy. Yeah, just go ahead.
No, the best content is experience. Experiences of what you've done in your day-to-day life. If you can say, I've done this on a project or for a client or something like that, people get far more value from that than they do from you sitting there and churning something that's come from TechNet and following the latest example that somebody's put on the Azure docs, and they've just created a blog that's copied on that. Like, do something different. And like, come and tell us about what you did. Did you do something where you joined two technologies together, or like, heaven forbid, you did something with like something that wasn't purely Azure and you integrated that with it as well?
Fantastic.
So do something around that that's interesting.
I just like to add one question here from Ahmad. Sorry, I'm just interrupting you. Do you think just for the tips for MVPs as well, and the people who want to become an MVP, where do you get the more response? Where you share just a core experience, or where you provide a solution like to-do, like tutorials? Where do you get the more response from audience normally?
Experience.
I think to be experience, yeah.
Use cases and experience.
Experience save hours for the people. And that's the main thing.
Yep.
People try to solve problems or get different perspectives that is not available in the official documentation. So they will follow people who have their own wild point of view about something, and this comes from experience. If your server crashed and you describe how you solve it by searching and your unique experience in doing this, someone out there will appreciate that. I believe that.
Yeah, that's why I quite like Medium. I quite like reading the Medium stuff because I think Medium's a little bit more about problems that people have had rather than pure blog. I sometimes think if I want to find out about something, I get more information from reading Medium than I do from reading the other places that people blog.
I agree this one, and I believe that it should be like in a balance between a problem solving or just discussing a problem, because I read so many blogs there, people try to discuss and share their opinion or think like that, but I feel more happier if I got a solution as well and some tips as well, because many people always ask for MVPs. I believe all of you guys get these questions, that how to create advanced architecture. Means always looking for the best practices, always looking for the something that can help them into a day-to-day life as well, especially for the developer community. Not much in same thing goes for infrastructure community, but for dev community, it's very much the thick content out there.
Okay, I want
just one comment, Ammar, because I'm checking also the Q&As as well, and then there being this question, I think Osama touched base about it, about what happened during the COVID situation and things that turning to online, and I think this is a great opportunity. So when there is no COVID and when there's back to the old normal, since now it's the new normal, back in the old normal, I used to travel something like 2-3 times, maybe 4 times per year to attend conference and speak. And this was the maximum I can make because mostly I'll be taking time off from my personal vacations and my family time and all this kind of thing, and wasting some time in the airports and traveling some of this. With the kind of now the new norm and the virtual events, the virtual conferences, I'm able to speak in more and more conferences and attend more and more conferences. So I think this is an opportunity for people seeking to have more contribution during this time.
Last thing I want to ask you guys one question. We are seeing many people contributing or trying to be an MVP and doing contribution in a lot of areas. And we know that to be nominated as MVP, you need to focus on one MVP category area. Perhaps Hatem, do you want to add something here about the focus? You are in the AI MVP, right? How
Yes.
important is focusing on one contribution area to become an MVP quickly?
So actually, in my experience, if you are concentrating on one technology and you are a master of that technology, it helps you to actually give more feedback about that technology. So MVP, on one hand, if you see, you have contributions towards the community, but you also have contributions towards the technology. Okay, so being focused into one technology also helps you to improve that technology in a better way and also give more feedbacks about that technology. So for me, when I started with AI, I started with all the finished services by cognitive services. I started with object detection and analytics and stuff like that. But the main advantage over here is if you're concentrating on your best of your knowledge, it is better for you to contribute on both sides of the coin, which is towards the community. Yes. So that is why it is important to stick to your expertise.
Yeah, I'm seeing and anyone can join here. I'm seeing some people writing a little thing about Exchange and Office 365, a little bit about Azure, a little bit about AI, and I just want to let you know that Microsoft product group evaluate those nomination. So in order to become an MVP, you need to have someone from Microsoft or a current MVP to nominate you. There is a nomination, right? So you need any MVP in the world or a Microsoft employee to nominate you. Of course, you need to have at least 1 year of contributions. For the nomination, the product group look at nominating you on a category. If you go to Google, search about Microsoft MVP categories, you can find that MVPs has many categories. I'm in the cloud and data center, James in Azure, we have AI MVP. So make sure to understand those categories, what technologies inside them, and focus your contributions on this category. Does anyone has anything to add? Perhaps someone can tell us about MVPs that has multiple categories?
Yeah, I'd like to add 2 points here. One is this, especially when you're going to try to do contributions online, I highly recommend try to collaborate with either some existing MVP, some senior MVP, and also might be someone from MSFT. This will really give you a nice path towards the award, because if you are doing something in a dimension or some path which is not Microsoft is focusing on, it will get tougher for you to get awarded. If you get some supervision or some like a guidance from an existing MVP or Microsoft employee, it will be very easy to recognize your work as well, to nominate you. Because I know so many people contact me, can you nominate me? Can you nominate me? It's very difficult for me to just nominate someone whom I don't know about what his work is about it and what's the quality he's producing on. And one of, I will not name the person out here, but one of the person we all work with it, and she was one of the leading MSFT in Microsoft, focusing on developer audience. She get the one nomination, and when we submit the nomination, and it get busted. Why it get busted? Because most of the person contribution was plagiarized. The plagiarism was out there, the copied content on a blog post and other things like that, and feedback was
be
not
authentic. The message is that be authentic, and also when you reach out to Microsoft and MVPs for nomination, just be polite that we need to know your contribution. We need to know the person itself. And you mentioned a very important point. If you want to try to become MVP, it's a good idea to get to know and connect to MVP, current MVP or Microsoft employees. show you the interest. They might mentor you and guide you to the best way to become MVP. I did this with a lot of people. I'm mentoring a lot of people to become Microsoft MVPs, people who I know that they are authentic and they are doing it for the sake of contribution. Perhaps
actually,
I can ask
sorry.
Ahmed a question that we also get, that some people came to us and say, Ammar, I did 4 blog posts and 3 videos and 2 public speaking, but I am not, I didn't become MVP. Can you explain more, Ahmad, about this attitude?
Yeah, so yes, that's exactly the problem. I mean, I'll be happily same as anyone here to mentor someone, but this is under the condition that he is willing to put the time and the effort. It's a long journey. It's not about 4 or 5 posts or 1 video. It's at least when you submit yourself as an MVP, you'll be requested to submit all the work done for the last year. So 1 year of contributions, 1 year at least. And then the problem is that sometimes I see people goes as an MVP and then next year they're out because they did it only once because they just wanted the title and that's it. So again, it's a commitment more than anything. It's a commitment and a long journey. And normally you do this because you love it. So it's the passion. It's not something I just want to do 1, 2, 3 to get the certificate and that's it. It's your passion. So sometimes I know some people, I guess you all know them, there are no more MVPs, but they are still contributing to the community. It's something in their blood.
Finally, I want to thank all the MVPs who are in the call with us today, and I want to leave some tips for people who are watching to start their MVP journey today. First of all, our advice is start by picking up a Microsoft MVP category. You can see the link here, mvp.microsoft.com, and then the MVP award update. This is the link that you can now go to and see all the MVP categories. Each Microsoft MVP gets an MVP award on 1 or more categories. So focus your contributions on 1 MVP category for now, and with time you will be recognized as an expert in that category. When people recognize you as an expert in one of those Microsoft MVP categories, you know that you are in the right track. Don't get distracted, focus on one of those categories. We have Ahmad Nabil from Egypt. He said that one of the easiest and quickest way to contribute is by going to online forums and answer questions that other people are asking. So I urge you to go to Microsoft Tech Community. The link is in the slide. Go there and start answering questions that other people are asking. This is one of the easiest way to show your passion for helping others with their Microsoft related questions. Igor shared his passion of creating videos. He has a very successful YouTube channel with more than 50,000 subscribers as for today. So if your passion is to create videos, then you can start your YouTube channel now. However, I want to let you know that video creation is not the easiest way to contribute. Try to create relevant videos about things people are searching for, and try to create content with your native language. And I have a quick thing to add here. So myself and Ahmad Nabil, we both have YouTube channel. My channel is about cloud and security. It's in English to reach the global English audience, while Ahmad Nabil thought to create a YouTube channel called InfoSec بالعربي to target the Arabic audience and share with them security best practices. Aside from tech communities and YouTube videos, one of the most famous ways to contribute to become Microsoft MVP is to join, organize, to speak in local user groups and meetups. James and Usama shared their passion and journey organizing such local user groups. In this slide, you have 2 links to 2 meetup that we organize and we maintain. My advice to you is go now to those links and join those meetup groups. Attend the next meetups that we have. Try to understand the dynamics that we are trying to do with those meetups, and then reach out when you have something valuable to add, and perhaps you can become a speaker in our next meetup. James and Usama, they did both great work in establishing those communities and maintaining the momentum and diversity of the content. And by now you can see that contributions does not need to be blogging or videos. It can be organizing events, which is a huge effort. Public speaking is another interesting contribution to become a Microsoft MVP and to be well recognized in the community as expert. And Hatem shared with us his experience and his maturity of public speaking. He started in the university doing small public speaking events, and then he matured and become a speaker in Microsoft Ignite and other conferences. So my advice to you is try to find an opportunity to speak in events or online webinars. Just try. Reach out to online conferences organizers. Try to contribute to any speaking event near you. It might be hard at first, but always look and try to get such opportunity. Of course, if you have something valuable that you want to share, reach out to us and we can help you speak in our next meetup. For me, my contributions are most about blogging. I have a professional blog that I maintain since 2008, and I write about things that I solved at work, anything about my experience in solving or implementing something new. And recently I started blogging about Microsoft certifications. So my advice to you, if you like blogging, create your own blog. An example of a blog platform is WordPress.com. Write about problems that you've solved at work. People search for experience. James mentioned that. And it's very important to be authentic about things that you are blogging about. You will be better with time, and use social media to amplify the reach of your blog post. Try to blog about what matters to people the most, and this is key to the success of your blog. And remember that you get better with time. I started with a small blog, and recently I published a book with Ahmad Nabil and other MVPs about Microsoft 365 security. One of the easiest way to contribute is to collaborate with other people. In our case, we collaborate with other MVPs to create a contribution or a content, in this case, a book. And if you are wondering how to start blogging, I published a blog post about how to start your own blog, step-by-step guide. The link is in the slide. Please have a look at it and start today your own blog. Here are some tips for you. Be consistent along the journey and do not lose momentum. Remember, it's not about a daily contribution, but consistency is a key. We all have our lives, our work, our families, but we always have time to do contribution from time to time. Start small, but remember that with time, people will eventually recognize you as a contributor in that field. And this is when you know you are in the right track. And remember, don't do it for the award. Don't give up. Do it because you are passionate about it. And think of the award as a plus bonus for your contribution and work. It's not easy to start, so you might need help along the way. So reach out, connect with us on social media, and we will be glad to help you. Finally, if you are an Arabic speaker, me and Ahmad and a fellow MVP from Egypt, Ahmad Baha, we published a video about how to become a Microsoft MVP in Arabic. So make sure to check this out if you are an Arabic speaker. Thank you very much, everyone, and I hope that you will join us as a Microsoft MVP soon.